Dark Satellite Media.
Welcome to episode number 70 of Red River Podcast. Just a quick check-in. Basically, I don't know. I figure this year, there's no reason for us to kind of not do like an hour of this stuff. Last week, I guess I talked to Kevin Egan from Beyond. He had that documentary he wanted to promote. I like Kevin a lot.
He was good, man.
Yeah, he's good.
And he
right?
dropped a movie that I hadn't thought about in like a billion years. Had Silver Streak.
Okay. Yeah,
I was like, oh my god.
He's good like that.
Yeah.
And Holbrook represent.
Word. Yeah.
And I finally decided to pull the trigger on Steve, the director of Miracle Mile. I guess I was just kind of nervous because like it's such a cool movie. Parker, do you guys like Strange Brew? I've never seen it.
Loved it.
I saw it a long time ago. I just remember like the two main characters. I don't really remember if I loved it or hated it though.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. That and Cherry 2000.
Yo, that I love.
Okay, so he did that too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so next week we'll talk to him, but I just wanted to kind of do listen, this show is like we always say, it's movies, music, pop culture. So I thought we should just get together and kind of talk about what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Seeing some old shit, some new shit. So let's see. I watched 2 trailers recently of movies that are coming out that I really want to watch. So I'm going to start with that, but is there anything like Langan, like any trailers that you saw recently that you want to watch?
No, I haven't really seen that one that Darby had posted on the page with Age.
Can't
remember the name of it. Man, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here, but trailer wise, no, I haven't seen a lot.
Parker?
Just TV shit I'm kind of looking forward to is like The Sinner is coming back for a 3rd season. I always fucking dug that show.
Well, they actually came back for a 3rd season. This would be the 4th season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I think I missed one then.
It was one after the kid, which I didn't even get into because it's one of those things where the 1st season was so good.
Yeah, that was amazing.
The 2nd season was okay. The kid, and the the 2nd season really didn't make me feel like I needed to watch the 3rd.
Yeah,
it could be amazing, but as you see, we're like drowning in shit to watch. So it's like only the strong survive. So
yeah. But it's like a lot of TV. I mean, like that show You's coming back on, which I dug. I watched the first. I think that's season 3, right, for You? Unless
Is that the internet creeper guy?
Yeah, that was good. I mean, Cobra Kai. I mean, Christ, we could just do a whole fucking episode on that because they signed on for fucking season.
We'll talk about that next.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So I saw recently 2 trailers. There's a movie that I've been meaning to watch, made by the guys that I think they did like Spring and Endless and movies like that. It's called Synchronic. And I'm just going to read it real quick. When New Orleans paramedics and longtime best friends Steve and Dennis are called to a series of bizarre and gruesome accidents, they chalk it up to a mysterious new drug found at the scene. But after Dennis's oldest daughter disappears, Steve stumbles upon a terrifying truth about the supposed psychedelic that will challenge everything they know about reality and the flow of time itself. So from what I gather about this trailer, it's like these kids are like doing this drug and it kind of like puts them in like a different dimension. It's weird. Like they all end up in different places. It kind of reminds me of like a waxwork or something.
Oh,
nice.
that's cool.
So yeah, this finally dropped. I've been meaning to watch it. I'm going to try to watch it tonight or tomorrow. It's up on videos on demand. And then the other one is Psycho Gorman. So Psycho Gorman. So it's the guys from Astron 6. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but I know you are because they made the Void.
Okay. There you
They
go.
did that movie, The Editor. They do a lot of really cool, like campy stuff, but like it's purposely campy the way it is. And this movie, you got to see the trailer because I could never do it justice with my words. So it's Psycho Gorman, and then they call it PG for short, which is definitely not. Yeah. And these kids like discover this like ancient like evil alien lord, and they bring him back, and just as he's about to kill them, they realize that they're holding this like medallion so they control this like murderous lunatic. And if you watch the trailer, you're gonna be like, this movie looks fucking ridiculous.
Interesting.
So, okay, yeah. So that's it on the trailers for me. Like I know, these are coming up. Also, so let's talk about Cobra Kai real quick because what do you think of season 3? Let's not obviously do spoilers, but Parker.
I mean, it was great. I mean, I've been a fan obviously since the beginning. I mean, like I said, if you listen to like old episodes, like
you were there.
That was the only reason why I subscribed to YouTube Red was like I saw this show was coming on, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll pay $10. How bad can it be? And like the one thing that I always say about that show, it's just like, Karate Kid, it's such like a staple in like my childhood, and like every episode, every season, I wait for them to drop the ball. And it just never happens. It just keeps getting better. They keep bringing in older characters from all the movies. I mean, you still have like 2 or 3 movies technically you could grab old characters from, which I fucking love.
Are you talking about Hilary Swank and Will Smith?
Dude,
kid?
I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about you could get like the chick from like the Witch movie, Teen Witch, in there from like part 3.
Oh yeah,
like,
she was.
You could get like the dude that like went on to like General Hospital after part 3. Like there's so many fucking people you could bring in. I love it.
I didn't know that they were supplying General Hospital, but
dude, let's do it, man. Let's do it. That Netflix money,
Langan, what did you think? I know you probably are more in the middle.
It's it's fantastic. I love that show. It's I didn't have any expectations about it going in, and was pleasantly surprised on how good the writing is. But some of the, if I know some people complain about but it's a little cheesy, but whatever. That doesn't bother me. It's totally fun. Maybe the kids aren't the greatest actors. There's a little bit of that.
Somebody described it as Power Rangers with cursing. I was like, oh my god. That's
pretty brilliant.
That's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Shout out to Anthony. Anthony from Bayside said that on Christian's wall.
Yeah, there's a lot of they're not great actors, but whatever. They're young kids. But it does a good job of being appealing to like people who have a nostalgic factor of those characters, but it's also got a young cast that you could probably watch with another younger generation. And it kind of straddles that line really well of keeping it fresh but being nostalgic also.
Yeah, because to me, the thing that works the most, like I could watch this and think to myself, like, okay, it is super corny, but what makes it corny are the kids.
Yeah.
Like to me, that the kid part of it is necessary just to rope in some other people. But the stuff that works for me are the older guys, because that's what I'm attaching my feelings to. Like when, to me, Johnny is the best character. Johnny and Miguel, like their relationship, like it seems super genuine.
Yo, give Zabka and Emmy like now.
Yeah,
the guy's crushing it, and I'm so happy for him. Like this whole second act that this guy's getting.
Yeah,
because I mean he was in so many of those movies, always playing the dick. You didn't hear about him for years. He comes out with this series, and he's doing so well. But I think
that Coors Banquet Scott just went like through the roof, man, because of him. Everybody's drinking that shit.
He is. Every time I see him, like, man, I'm telling you, Coors is killing it right now.
And he's bringing back calling people pussies.
That's it. Which is, it's so there what I like about it is there's still something lovable about being like an alpha male. You know, like it embraces that because he still has a lot of heart, and he's not like you take alpha male him and then you take alpha male, you know, fucking Kreese. You know, they're two totally different things. And I just like, man, in this season where he's like trying to work Facebook or whatever, and he turns to Miguel, he's like, how long does a Facebook message take to get there? He's like, she lives in Colorado, so I'm thinking a couple of days, right?
He's like,
he's so stupid, but so good.
You didn't like every picture. He's like, yeah, I liked them all. I like the pic. There were good pictures. There's a button there that it's telling me to like it.
I think he is the only one. You know, like Macho is good. There's something about his character that I don't know, man. Maybe it's like Alex Winter in Bill and Ted 3. It's like this is their time to shine again. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just this is his role. And from what I understand, the series came from that mock-up YouTube thing where LaRusso was the real bully.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, did they like break that dude off? Like, I don't know. Like, what's the relationship to that? Because it's funny when you watch that video, the way they edited it, you're like, holy shit. You're like, he was the bully, you know? And then from there, this show was born, which I thought was brilliant. And then the people our age that want to shit on it, like, I get it, but it's like, those movies were corny. Like part
it's
3,
fun. Get over yourself. Like
part three was the corniest. Like the bonsai tree breaking and like that fucking, like, it was just so to me, I'm thinking like the difference between the movies and the shows is really not that much. They were very, you know, it's like kind of corny, but at our age, like I love it. And unfortunately, when it comes to binging shows, like you watch it and it's like, you know, those 10 episodes go very quick and you're waiting another fucking 12 months for something, you know?
Yeah, a long time. Hopefully not any longer, because all production. I don't know what we're going to be looking at this year. You know, as it rolls out, because productions were, you know, put on the shelves.
Yeah,
stuff that was in the work. You know what I mean? So,
but okay, let's do a little round robin here. So let's talk some movies, some music, some pop culture. So we'll go with Langan first. Like one of those 3 things. Which would you like to talk about first? Something you've seen recently that you want to, you know, talk about?
Yeah, I signed up for Apple TV and Showtime trials.
Yeah.
So banging out some stuff in there. I wasn't really impressed with Apple TV, to be honest with you. I kind of used it and canceled it.
Okay.
But I did watch that Ted Lasso show that I heard people raving about, and it is a damn good show. Very funny, pretty wholesome, actually, in a way. But
so you watched, because that's like, you know, certain people just love that show. Like Neil, who we had on a couple episodes ago, they really championed that episode.
I was kind of like, all right, this is some fish out of water thing. This is going to be very predictable what we're doing here and this and that. But the performances, the writing, it's a good show. It's funny. It's funny. It's kind of a lot of heart too.
Yes, we're going to start there. So then we're going to go back down to Parker. Movie, music, or pop culture, or anything?
I guess mini series it was. So I did that Heaven's Gate show on HBO, and that was just a fucking wild ride, man. I mean, I love watching these fucking like cult shows. I mean, I got sucked into that Scientology one with Leah Remini, and then like I followed that shit like couple movies into that. So I mean, this thing was just a wild ride. I mean, I knew very little about the concept of this cult, and then watching it was only 4 episodes.
Was that Koresh? I don't remember.
No.
Oh no, that was the other guy.
Yeah, it was the other
that
guy.
Was Waco
the old
thing.
Guy.
Yes, the old guy. But I was amazed how many hardcore bands, funny enough, sampled stuff from this guy's like instructional videos. It was pretty hysterical.
Okay, that's cool. So 4 episodes, man. And you know, speaking of cults, I mean, you know, you watch things like this, and you know, people who are of sane mind, you think to yourself, how does it ever get this bad that you would have some, like, how would you listen to certain people? you know, and obviously, you know, politics the way it is, like I'm just
Oh
thinking,
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a cult, like you're completely wrapped up in it, and yeah, that's wild. So I still didn't see that, but I plan on seeing that. There's a lot of good stuff on HBO Max. I didn't get it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I actually I watched the movie recently with Karen called Greenland with Gerard Butler.
Oh yes, I wanted to see that.
Yo, that's like, I'm a sucker for like disaster movies, and this was
Me
like,
too. Me too.
this was kind of like a comet that was like supposedly getting close to Earth. And it was like 2 hours, and from beginning to end, it was very intense. And you know, given the situation that we're all in now, obviously it's a little different, but just the panic in everyone, the constantly watching the news and stuff like this and figuring out, it really almost reminded me of Miracle Mile, where it was just like this disaster that was like coming, and how everyone was just trying to figure out what the fuck to do. But that was a really well done disaster movie. And sure, I mean, there's Hollywood parts of it where, you know, you're like, oh, that would never happen, but very effective for 2 hours. My butthole was like very puckered and like, you know, so Langan, you know, movies, TV, whatever you want to talk about.
I just watched the Belushi doc that was on Showtime. I just watched that last night. I thought
Yeah, I've got to check that out too.
I thought that was good. The style of it with
Animation, right?
there was some animation.
Yeah.
A lot of his writings. Like
That's
there was
what it was.
audio going
That's
on,
what it
and they
was,
would
yep.
show the writings, and they were kind of good. They were hard for me to keep up with and follow. Like stylistically was a little off, but the whole Belushi story was fascinating. I mean, what a
Do you
fucking talent.
still have your Showtime trial or not?
Yeah, I'm still on that. I think I'm blown away by the content they have.
Good.
And I think I'll probably keep that one in the rotation.
I'm more impressed by the Showtime content the last couple of months than HBO.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff on fucking Showtime. Like
the documentaries, especially. I mean, I'm really a big fan of that. And I'm just like, I set up a whole bunch of stuff in my queue to watch on there. And I'm like, yeah, this is enough stuff that I'm gonna keep. I'm
a big fan. Like if we were doing top 5 apps at the moment,
yeah,
it's up there. It might be number 1.
Well, that was the problem with Apple TV. A lot of stuff would pop up like, oh, I want to see that. And I click it. And it'd be like, watch with this Showtime add-on. And then it happened again and again. And I'm like, well,
I don't like that format.
I don't need you guys to facilitate me to go to Showtime.
No, yeah. I think we ended up with Apple TV for shit. I don't remember. Might have been like I don't remember why Karen got it, but Parker, give me something.
That crack documentary on Netflix. I just watched that yesterday. The crack cocaine 80s one.
Yeah.
And that was fucking wild, man. I mean, holy shit. I mean, just seeing what these fucking people went through. I mean, I'm a sucker, obviously, for
crack.
You know, for the positive part of it.
I love the crack.
Which is,
I'm a sucker for heartache.
Yeah, shit that we were talking about, but like also like this, just like the fucking footage of like just interviewing these mothers literally like selling their fucking kids for like a hit of fucking crack. Like every minute I was watching this thing, I was waiting for fucking Nino Brown to like poke his head out from like fucking New Jack City. You know?
Right. Am I my brother's keeper?
Yeah. You know, but I loved it. It was the hour and a half fucking flew by. It was awesome.
Yeah, that whole story is pretty fucked up. You know, like once you start getting into like the Contras and all that other stuff that they were funding, and you could see how, you know, it was like an epidemic that you push into these like neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods were fucking decimated completely, and they were just, you know, kept in. Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. I remember, you know, I probably mentioned this story once or twice. Growing up in Queens, my grandmother had like you know, she lives on the 3rd floor, and on the other side of like the hallway where the apartments were, there lived this lady, and I would always see her in the stair hall. You know, there was like elevator and stairs, and anytime I would take the stairs, sometimes she would be there. but I didn't know what her deal was, but I guess she was smoking crack, because when I saw her, she looked like the living dead. And I was like 9 or 10. And she was the reason I would never want to take the stairs, because I didn't know, like, she legit looked like a zombie. And it just always stayed with me. And like years later, I think she got cleaned, but it was just so fucked up, man. Cause I guess it was the 80s and she was really hooked on it. And what it did to her, like just everything and soul, was fucking crazy. So I'm glad she, hopefully she gets some memories watching it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And hopefully she's alive to watch the documentary.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
Yeah. Shout out to her wherever she's at. So for me, I'm going to talk about, Jerry Smith is a complete lunatic. Every now and then he has no rhyme or reason. He'll like something and I'll watch it and I'll be like, hey, he's a lunatic. So shout out to Jerry Smith. So he was barking about this movie Swerve. And I'm thinking like, okay, I put it on. It's a very like, it kind of reminded me of like something like a Red, White, and Blue, like where it's like just really, or Swallow, like just devastating to watch this person. She is just, this woman's like descent into just completely mental illness. Her marriage is all fucked up. Her fucking kids are like, she's just having a hard time at life. And I believe this might still also be up on Showtime as well. And it's just, if you want something very, very, very depressing, if you want something like, if you're having a great week and you want to just remember what it's like to not feel happy, watch Swerve. It's just very devastating. So,
I don't know if we need any more of that.
Lang, give me something.
Music wise, we haven't talked about music really.
Yep.
Not been an amazing start so far in the first couple of weeks. But that's
It's always, it's nature. No one's going to blow their wad in January.
No, but there's a couple of things. Frontline Assembly. I don't know if you know them, industrial band from back in the day, 80s.
I did.
Mike Alarmo was a big fan. They put out a new album last week. I don't know if I'm just continuing this trend. I'm listening to a lot less metal and a lot of electronic stuff's making sense to me. Maybe it's some kind of dystopian sound about how we're headed as a society, and it's kind of just sounds good to me right now.
Your parents are finally happy that you finally grew out of it.
It's the soundtrack to like society falling apart. It just sounds good,
You finally grew out.
Time is here. Yeah. You know what it is, but that's more the metal's coming out and stuff like that. But if it's something interesting they're doing, I'm intrigued in it and stuff. But I'm not interested in hearing like rehash, like stoner.
Okay.
But anyway, Frontline Assembly, Mechanical Soul, good album. If you're a fan,
cool. Drop it back down. Parker, give me something.
I watched this documentary called Wonderlust on Tubi, actually, and the fucking best way that I could describe this thing, it's almost like the hills have eyes with like a neighborhood. So it's all these people living on like, I think it was an abandoned military base, and it's just people that just want to live off the grid. So it's like heroin users, Vietnam vets that got the fucking Agent Orange shit. Just really fucking wild how these people just like build a society around just not even like having to like deal with money or anything, it's just like they film like this one scene and it's just like they wake up and like play cards like one day, just like, they have the whole world in the palm of their hands. They don't have to worry about fucking bills or car payments or rents, but it was really wild. I mean, Tubi has it. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but that was a good one.
Yeah, Tubi. I mean, people should get Tubi regardless because it's a free app. If you have a smart TV or whatever, even in your phone, if you want to like Chromecast it to your TV, Tubi TV is just fantastic. Tubi and Pluto have a lot of cool things that you won't randomly. You could probably get, but it's things that you forget about.
Things like Netflix and stuff like that. Like you're not gonna find some old film you're looking for. Yeah. Like there's no chance they have like if they break out an old film, it's like a blockbuster from back in the day.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Mom.
Right. If you're looking for that obscure little thing, there's always a shot that like I always check Tubi, you know what I mean? Because you never know. They might have it.
You never know. So here's a show that I just finished, which I love, Wayne, up on Amazon Prime. Have you guys heard of it? Watched the trailer or anything?
I've seen people post about it. I haven't yet to watch it yet.
Man,
Yeah,
it's really, it reminds me of At the End of the Fucking World, where it's like these two really offbeat characters. But I guess it's got more personality than that show.
Okay.
So it's just these two really broken people meet each other. They're young kids. They both have, family issues, and they decide to take this trip down to Florida to go, to take this car that, Wayne's dad left them. And just, I mean, everything along the way, just his, from a cop looking for him to her family looking for, like, it's just really, really entertaining. 10 episodes, about 30 minutes a piece, and super funny. Every character is just more outrageous than the next. Super recommendation. Absolutely loved it. So Langan?
I just watched the Go-Go's doc on
Loved it.
Showtime. That was
thought it was
that was
great.
a lot of fun, because I always heard that, that they were a punk band per se, but that's not what I knew of them. Obviously, I knew them when they broke all their hits. But it was interesting in showing those roots on how they came up, because I didn't know much about that era of them before they became. And I always crush on Jane Leland for life. So
yeah, that was a really good documentary, and later I think they even talked about the new song. Maybe at the end, maybe they put it out, but they released a new song last year, and I thought it was a great song. It might have, yeah, it might have come from that doc if I remember correct. So,
if it was in that.
Parker, give me something.
This is kind of music doc. Well, not really doc, but Igor Cavalera of Sepultura actually started his new YouTube page, and it's called Beneath the Drums. And what he's doing is he's choosing a Sepultura song per episode and kind of walking you through it like slowly, and then he shows you how to do fills and stuff like that. So I guess it's more like musical instructions. He's only got one up there right now, but he started with Territory, which, Jesus Christ, that's got one of the fucking best opening drum beats of all time. I mean, until I physically saw him play it on this thing, I still had no clue what he was doing, and that fucking song's like 20 years old.
Can you watch something like that and learn it?
I could probably learn something better from watching it than listening. Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, now that you have all the time in the world, it's fun to see a lot of people, they'll, if it's a shredder, he'll teach you how to do it, or, it's cool that Igor's doing that.
Yeah.
I started watching The Stand.
Oh, fuck. Nice. Yeah, I want to see that too.
You guys remember the 94 one? Because I barely remember it. Yeah.
I own it. I've seen it a fucking ton of times. Yeah.
Was it like, it was like 4 episodes? How many? I don't even remember.
No, I think it was 5. I think CBS showed it, which is funny because CBS is showing this one now. And I think actually every night it was on. So I think it was a Monday through Friday miniseries. And it was like an hour or 2 hours, however long. Because I mean, the DVD that I have is 2 discs, so it's definitely long.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying it. I think there's 5 episodes in. Just another thing that we added, we got CBS All Access. There seems to be some cool stuff on it, and the selling point on a lot of these apps are always the same. When you think of like $6, I'm like, I can do $6 for the month, And we have so many between Karen and I. We have because it's always the same thing. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm $5, like whatever.
Yeah.
So,
that's up.
Yeah, it does, but in a way, I'm like, whatever. It's like sick. Yeah, it's barely like a cup of coffee, and I'll watch the rest of The Stand. And so far, it's great. I don't remember how the first one went, but this is kind of like telling it's one of those stories. It's like it's like a dual angle. So it's like before and after type shit. So it like always switches up, which is cool. Like if you could follow it. So I'm enjoying The Stand, and I'm in. There's also something else on that I want to watch called Coyote. with I think Michael Chiklis. So we'll keep it for a little bit longer. And then the fucking what is that? The Twilight Zone shit.
Yeah.
So
What, the new one?
yeah, the new one. So like,
Man, I hated that. I couldn't get past a couple episodes. Did not like it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm easy to please though.
I thought it was groaningly woke.
Oh yeah, I didn't really get that angle.
Like crowbarred.
Really?
Come on. Yeah, I don't know. But to each their own.
I expect better. All right, so Langan, anything else?
I heard this hip hop album last week that surprised me because it's by Nick Caution.
Oh yeah. Pro Era.
Anywhere but here. I think he's from the Pro Era crew there.
Pro Era, yeah.
Yeah. It's got Joey Badass on it, Denzel Curry on some cameos. But
They came out this year?
Yeah, like last week or the week before. And it's got some like production that really Tribe Called Questy, like boom bap.
Yeah, those kids are all about it.
Yeah, and it's got like a lot of like some R&B-ish hooks that are kind of throwback to like that 90s sound that would do it. Because sometimes singing on the hook, I'm not always a fan.
Yeah,
I like my shit goony, but this worked for me. I don't know, it just hit the right spot. I was pretty impressed with it. I didn't know anything about this kid. So.
I'm gonna have to look it up because he was one of those members from Pro Era that I didn't really like too much.
Yeah.
Because maybe I just didn't like his production picking. But I mean, if you're telling me what you're telling me, then I might have to check it out. So
I never heard him before in my life. This was my first exposure, and it caught I thought I wasn't gonna like it. I'm like, let me click play.
The one white guy in Pro Era, so Unity.
Yeah. You know how I roll.
Yeah, totally.
I think it came up in my my weekly Spotify.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a minute. We're just going to go through a couple more things because I wanted to dive into that before we finish. So Parker, anything else?
The only other thing was really that David Arquette thing that I posted about in the group.
Yeah.
Just him trying to relive his days as a wrestler. I mean, really quick, what it's about, fucking like 20 years ago, actually 21 years ago, back in 2000, he had this movie coming out, this horrible movie called Ready to Rumble, and it was him and fucking Scott Conn.
You're
James
right.
Caan's,
Yeah,
James Caan's kid. And to sync up with that, just to kind of like make publicity for the movie, WCW, which was like the thing that always feuded with WWF at the time, they let him win the championship, like for real. Like the fucking guy was like the world champion. So they go back to like pretty much how this guy like never recovered from like being like like the world champion. Like he's still trying to like chase his dreams, and like they talk about how when he got into like the Screen movies, like I thought that those did pretty well for him, but he said how those kind of like destroyed his career, how like nobody wants to like give him like roles anymore. Like he still goes on casting calls and doesn't get the jobs. But I mean, it's cool. Just
He's saying Scream ruined his career.
That's what he said.
I was gonna let Parker finish. I was gonna let Parker finish.
Yeah, that's what he's saying in the movies. And then but the cool thing is it's dual angles. So it's like they interview a bunch of wrestlers as far as his wrestling career, and then they interview a bunch of actors. And like, as you know, like Patricia Arquette is his sister, so they interview her. They get Rosanna Arquette. They interview Courtney Cox. It's like all over the place.
Yeah. When you make a movie, obviously you need some sort of angle and some sort of like, some drama. And yeah, for to say that I'm thinking like, what else has he done besides?
Seriously, right?
I thought those were the best things that could have possibly, like that would have been the highlight of his career.
I heard nothing but good things about the documentary. So I know it's up on Hulu.
Yep.
So that would be, I would probably watch that. But yeah, cool. So let's see. I'm gonna throw one more in here, which is so the movie. You got nothing left, right, Parker, Langan?
No, that's about it.
No, I'm good.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna do The Trade. The Trade is on Showtime. It's a 4-part docuseries. It's the second season. Super involved stuff, like from like human trafficking, like on all angles. So there's like human trafficking, there's like narcotics, there's like gang members, just this story of migrants and all this stuff. It's super heavy, totally recommend it. Your Honor has been great. That's another thing on Showtime. I don't know if you guys know the story, but Bryan Cranston has a son. His son accidentally kills someone, and his dad's a judge and covers it up because he thinks that it's just, that's where it's going to end. This is all within the first 10, 15 minutes of the first episode. And from there, it's like a lie that just fucking grows wings. And it's just genie out of the bottle type thing. And there's a movie on Showtime. Wow. A lot of Showtime called Hot Summer Nights.
Oh, yes. Great movie. That was good.
When did you watch? I had no idea.
That's an A24, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, I saw that a while ago. Actually, when we did that call-in, that A24 episode where I rambled on for like an hour, that was on there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was in there. Yeah, that was good.
So good. I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been one of the best A24 movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. The soundtrack was great. And another thing I wanted to mention, the last thing, is a movie called Scare Me, which was Aya Cash and this dude Josh Rubin wrote and directed it, and it's kind of like a horror movie, and it's Josh's character and Aya's character are in somewhere in like the cabins. They're not together, but the electricity goes out and they're stuck, and they start kind of like hanging out and talking, and she is just they're both writers, and they start telling each other scary stories to scare the shit out of them, and that's the whole movie, is them trying to scare each other with like the scariest stories. And you would think, how is this even a movie? And it was fucking great.
Is that on Shudder?
It's on Shudder.
It is. Okay, I did see that pop up.
Yeah, it's super unique and just like something I've never seen before. So cool, man. A couple of things that we want to mention since we talked about Cobra Kai. Did you guys watch the trailer for More Than Miyagi?
No,
I didn't watch that yet. No.
Do you know what it's about?
It's out, or it's just a trailer?
It comes out February 5th. So it's just a documentary on Pat Morita. Because if there's one thing about Cobra Kai that's a bummer, is that he's not around to see it.
Yeah.
So this is just, it's self-explanatory. More Than Miyagi. It just talks about his career and all this other stuff. So timely for sure. So look out for that February 5th. And anyone watch the Willy's Wonderland, the new Nick Cage trailer?
I saw the trailer. Yeah, with that Darby. That's what I mentioned in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah,
that was.
So
I
this.
Can remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this dude is. I mean, I would love to see Nick Cage's schedule because it's probably packed.
Yeah, he's got a lot of taxes to pay back, man. I think that's when his productivity got insane, when he got in all that tax trouble.
Yeah. Well, because you look
going to work.
you look the budget for the movie, it's $5 million. So like, I mean, how much of that could possibly be his?
Work, man.
Like if you do a movie, even if you do a movie once a month, which it seems like he does way more than that. But if you do a movie once a month and you get like $1 million or $2 million, it's like, all right, yeah. Like I work 12 times a year and I fucking,
It's the new Michael Caine.
Michael Caine
taking gigs, man.
There's a few of those dudes, man. Fucking Ving Rhames started like when like I would go to like Redbox back when that was a thing for like a minute, and there was like 30 like Ving Rhames movies that you've never heard of,
They're like Roger Corman of actors.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like if that's your job and you get called for it, and you're like, it's like if somebody asked me to do something, it's like, this job pays like $500 grand. We need you in Vancouver for 2 weeks. What are you gonna do? Say no?
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. One day the phone's gonna stop ringing, so while it's still ringing, answer it.
Are you gonna read the script? Probably not. You're just gonna keep going.
Send it to me. I'll read it on the way.
So, okay. In closing, we do like to snort lines of nostalgia on the show. So I wanted to basically pick an album and a movie, that's celebrating an anniversary in 2021. So 1991, 2001, and 2011. So for example,
An album and a movie? I thought it was just movie. Shit.
Nah, yeah.
Great.
I mean, you'll be fine. So I'll
Yeah.
kick it off, and then I'll go to Parker, and then you could do it later.
Okay.
So 1991 for me, the movie that I picked, celebrating 30 years this year, is a random ass movie called Highway to Hell.
Oh, okay.
With Chad Lowe and Christy Swanson and Patrick Bergen. Have you guys ever seen this movie?
The title sounds familiar.
Yeah, I have the box like cover in my head right now, but that's the best that I could do. I never pulled the trigger and watched it.
Yeah, it's a really weird movie, and this couple ends up in hell. And they're trying to get out of it, but then this cop kidnaps Christy Swanson, and Chad Lowe, Rob Lowe's brother, has to find her with the help of Patrick Bergen. This is actually up on Tubi right now. It's really really cool, really campy. One of those random movies that you just watch and never forget. That for me. A record celebrating 30 years in 1991 is Trompe Le Monde by the Pixies. I remember listening to this album for the first time, and this might have actually been the first Pixies album that I heard in its entirety. Everything else was like a video or a single. And when I heard the title track to this, it was just they're such a weird and cool band. They have the wildest melodies and guitars, and they're like no other band that I've ever heard since, really. So Trompe Le Monde by the Pixies for me. So those are my two picks to spotlight, celebrating 30 years from 1991. Parker, give me a movie and an album from 1991.
Man, so I looked at the movies, and there were some winners that year. So I mean,
there's some heat.
Like so I'll follow your lead, and I'll scale it down to 3. I won't get into all of them, but definitely more under the radar than anything else. So you got Career Opportunities, which was the movie that just like put the nail in the coffin for me with like Jennifer Connelly. Just like, my God, what a fucking, my God, like so fucking hot. Plus, that was the first time I think that I ever heard what Target was, and I was like, what the fuck is Target? Like, what is this store that they're fucking breaking into, or whatever?
I just bought a gift card.
Yeah, then you got Toy Soldiers, which that movie gets shit on, but like whatever, that fucking movie is like amazing with fucking Sean Astin.
That movie's so good. Pots and Pans.
You got my boy from Pots and Pans. You got my boy from fucking Wishmaster as the fucking head fucking terrorist. And then number 3, my fucking favorite Van Damme movie. If you can't have fucking one Van Damme, have 2 and call it Double Impact. I mean, come on.
Right. He wears silk underwear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that movie is just fucking great. And then album-wise, I mean, let's be honest, Metallica Black Album. Like, what the fuck you gotta say? Like, a lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it. That's the fucking album that not only got me into drumming, but solidified me into like getting into like being like a musician.
It aged well. I listened to it in its entirety like maybe like a couple of months ago, and man, I still love like Sad but True, Wherever I May Roam, of Wolf and Man. There's some really like Through the Never.
Yep.
I still like it. There's a lot of Langen's still angry.
He's shaking his head over there. I can see him already.
Listen, well, I totally get it's all, we've said this a million times. Like, I'm a little older than you guys, so that change to me was so abrupt. Like, it was like, wait a minute, what are they doing? We're never making a video. Now all of a sudden we release like 5 singles. Yeah. It was just different. And I heard Enter Sandman, and I just was like, Jesus, this is really different. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. Now, as I'm older now, there's some really great songs on there. It's well produced like crazy. I get it. And they took the next logical step to make their band the biggest thing on the planet. But
listen, Heavy Thoughts Tonight, and they aren't of Snow White.
It was just a shock to hear, and like it just, but like I said, if I was a little younger, it might have been different.
Yeah. Let's do your 91s.
People Under the Stairs.
Nice.
That film. It was a fun movie. I loved the set. I loved the setup of the house, the way the whole, the inner sanctum of it. and the whole, the subtext of, they were obviously like, a Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan villain.
Yep.
Mirror that, and and enfranchised society. That's the people under the stairs. There's a whole thing going on that Craven did there. But besides that, though, it's just a fun movie, a fun horror movie, and it kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit.
It does, yeah. But I remember like watching it as a kid, and it's for the people that were the right age for that movie, it really hit nicely. So, and shout out to the Reagans for there's a Showtime docu-series.
I'm watching that tonight with my son. He's interested in like presidential history. So.
Yeah, this one doesn't look too good for him, but
that's all right. I told him what probably.
Yeah, reality, sure. But give me an album.
I would go with Smashing Pumpkins, Gish.
Gish, yeah, cool.
When they got on my radar, they were just, I was full on metal in high school. So like going into that time period, I was starting to expand what I was listening to. And here's a band that kind of like had some heavy shit, but would come with a different lyric and feel to them.
That record's super psychedelic for sure.
Yes. And it straddles a lot of camps, you know what I mean? And it's a little something for everybody. And it really blew my mind and opened up, my ears really.
All right. So where am I? So now we're going to go to 2001. These are movies and albums that are celebrating 20 years, which is crazy to think. I was looking up some movies, and I went with the Royal Tenenbaums. Just because it's fantastic. And I don't remember it coming out in 2001 because it says it came out in December 2001, which is only like 2 months after like 9/11. And I don't remember going to the theater and like, I don't know, maybe we did, but it
was around like, I feel like around the end of the year because there's a part in that film which uses a part from Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack. I remember seeing it around that time period and then it was like towards the end that year, so it was a couple of months afterwards, I think.
Crazy, yeah, because I mean, it was such a weird time for sure at that time, even like a couple of months later. So maybe that's why the movie hit so well. Really, I mean, what a great cast! Just really fun movie, great soundtrack. And
the look of his films, man, it's just the color and detail of the sets and their outfits that it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And a record celebrating 20 years, 2001, I went with The Cold Vein by Cannibal Ox. So nice. Before there was Run the Jewels, before there was solo LP, he was an amazing producer. And 2001's The Cold Vein was just really LP. That was probably like the best production he ever did for anyone that wasn't for himself. Really cool stuff on there. It's hard to explain why something sounds futuristic, but if you listen to that record, especially in 2001, the production of the music felt like, you were like listening to an audio version of like Blade Runner, so shout out to that record. So Parker, give me an album and a movie from 2001.
So movie, I did Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, which next to Mallrats, that's my favorite one out of all of them.
And the Clip Master.
Yeah, just like, I mean, the cast, talk about an all-star cast. And I mean, that fucking blooper reel at the end.
So good.
It can go up like against Cannibal Run, no question. Like laughing my fucking ass off watching that.
That is, Cannibal Run blooper reel. Like that's
some serious shit.
Yeah.
So and then album, I actually had to pick two because both of these albums just like changed pretty much hardcore permanently. So the first one is Converge, Jane Doe, which just completely changed like the heavier side. And then the other album, which I was actually lucky enough to kind of like tour with this band when this first came out, was Thursday Full Collapse. Wow, and that did the same thing. I got to go on tour with these guys for 3 weeks, probably about 2 months after this album came out. And it was fucking crazy, man. I literally got to see this band getting bigger, show after show in that 3 week time. It was fucking awesome.
That album is, man, I remember that time too. And everyone had that album.
Oh yeah.
Those songs, Understanding in a Car Crash, like just everything on that record. Like when they would play it was just fucking massive. That was like, you know, we talk about the local influence of things like River Runs Red or like Urban Discipline. You know, Thursday's album Full Collapse was definitely one of those that like everyone from Long Island for sure was rocking that fucking.
Oh yeah.
Except Langan.
Yeah.
Lang, give me an album and a movie from 2001.
I'll go with Ghost World.
Good one.
One of my favorite films of all time. Scarlett Johansson, Steve Buscemi, Thora Birch. Very dark comedy about human relationships, and Buscemi absolutely crushes it. Everybody does, and Doug, the guy at the 7-Eleven,
with
the mullet.
You guys also invented butt sex.
That dude's a legend. But just a very smart, funny, well-written movie about outcasts and
mean-spirited, though, the way that everything started.
Yes. Yeah. And then it, gradually changes in theme and goes to a, place I didn't think it would go to. But
and
it's one of my favorites.
And here it went from American Beauty to that. I figured Thora Birch was going to have the big career.
Yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson was like whatever, and like it just went the flip side. And I came to that conclusion last year when I was watching Thora Birch on The Walking Dead playing a zombie. Or playing like one of those whisper people. I'm thinking like, man, I'm like, you don't even have your real face on this show. Like,
well, her mom was a porno actor, I think. So there's always that. It could be worse.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think her mom was an adult film. So she can always fall back on that.
There you go. Well, she dated Fred Durst too, didn't she, for like a minute?
It just gets worse and worse, this story. I'm feeling horrible.
No wonder.
At least she's already hit rock bottom.
Somebody brought up the other day, it was so funny. They're like, who did worse? Who did more damage for the red hat, Fred Durst or Trump?
Oh, shit.
I'm just like, I don't know. At that point,
great.
Anytime you see a red hat, you're just like, I don't know about this.
Yeah. You always got to do a double take now.
I was going to do a double take to make sure.
It says some football team. All right. Okay. You always look at it.
Make R-rated, make her R-rated again. Okay.
Yeah. It's fucking somewhere down here. I don't know where.
All right. So now we're the last, a movie and an album celebrating 10 years. So 2011, not too long ago. I picked the relevant movie called Contagion because it's, I don't know if you guys seen this one. Did you see this?
I have not seen it, but I know of it.
I think it might still be up on HBO Max, and it's pretty intense. Like when you first watch it, it's just kind of like, the protocol that we're going through now. And it's just, like a disease and kind of like everyone figuring out what it is and the quarantines and all this other shit. So it's, pretty weird. Karen and I watched it like when everything first started kicking off, and we were like, wow, but I mean, that's just protocol. It just seems like relevant, but it's like, it's like this, when shit locks down, this is what you're supposed to do. But yeah, that was a dark movie. And I picked Yuck, the Yuck self-titled record. 10 years
you told me about them, and I was so happy you did this.
It was like Dinosaur Jr. Like it was like
good. Yeah,
totally like just a really good record. I know when we did the favorite albums of the last 10 years or the decade, that made my list. So Yuck self-titled. Parker, movie.
So a movie that I didn't see that year that it came out, but actually a movie that both of you guys suggested to me that I finally saw, called The Raid, came out that year.
I was going to pick that, but I knew once you mentioned that, I was like, I know he's going to go with that.
Yeah. I did have a couple other things on there. I had Limitless was on there, and like Cabin in the Woods and stuff like that. But like compared to like The Raid, like can't even stand close. Like I was, it's funny. Like Rick Jimenez's podcast just had Danny Lamelli on, and they talk about The Raid, and just like I'm just listening to it. I'm just like listening to this interview, and I was just like, I want to stop listening to this and watch this fucking movie right now, just because it fucking amps you up so hard.
That's what a good podcast will do.
Yeah.
It'll make
And
you-
then
it'll make you want-
album wise, same thing. This was actually a soundtrack of a movie, which the type of music I wasn't really into the time, but now I love it. And that synthwave, and that was the Drive soundtrack, came out that year.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good. I still
Yeah.
listen to there was a song, the band was called College, and like the reoccurring song in that movie was from them, and the song Real Human Being or something like that. Very cool stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
So Langan, give me 2 from 2011.
Let's see. There was a couple of films on here. You already mentioned The Raid, the greatest action movie of all time. But I will throw out Take Shelter, which was a little criminally unseen film.
Mike Shannon.
Michael Shannon, yeah. About a guy, basically a doomsday kind of scenario. One guy's trying to protect against it. Everybody in the town thinks he's insane, but who's really right at the end? I will say no more. I thought that was very good. And We Need to Talk About Kevin. I thought about
How was
showing,
that? I never saw that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's a real psychological kind of drama of this mother and this child who has got some bad sociopath tendencies or whatever, and you see the development of where this person could go. Parents realizing there's something off with our son, and it's good. It's a good psychological drama.
Cool.
Tilda Swinton's great, always great.
Give me an album from 2011.
And albums of that year, I'll go with Opeth's Heritage. Opeth was primarily, a progressive death metal kind of band at that time. That's the first album that where Michael was going to just sing, not growl as much. They were going to go more into a 70s prog rock sound. And they got a lot of hate because of it, but I love the progression, and they're such a talented band.
Well, fantastic. So yeah, man, we talked a lot of new stuff, a lot of current stuff, and shining a little light on some 30s, some 20s, and some 10s. I think we should do one of these, once a month, as long as we don't, have other guests booked or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. So until next time, we're going to talk to Steve DeJarnette from Miracle Mile and all that other shit next week. And cool, man. I'm going to try to get this up and running by tonight. I think there's something in the, like the more stuff that you put out, the more people listen because they expect a new episode like every week, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think this year, like that's the goal for me personally, that I want to just, because this is easy. What do we just do? Just talk for an hour.
Yeah, we should be able to turn at least two.
It
to a
doesn't.
month
Yeah,
out.
there's no reason not to. But cool, guys.
Word.
Have an awesome Sunday.
Later, guys.
Peace. Later.